everybody, and welcome back once again to the first edition of Inside the Headset for the 2014 season. I'm with the head coach of the Riverdale Warriors, Coach Ron Aydelott. Coach, what's been going on in Riverdale?
Well, we're trying to get better. Got a game this week, obviously, week 0. It's heated up out here, and I'm sure it's that way across the state of Tennessee. And it becomes a little bit more difficult, but we're trying to get kids and get them to the point where we're ready to play Friday night.
Well, since the start of two-a-days and going through a few scrimmages and a jamboree, where are the Warriors?
Well, that's a good question. I saw some positive signs through the scrimmage sessions, and then the jamboree, I didn't see things that we wanted to see on film. I didn't think we competed very hard in certain areas and didn't do things the way we were coached to do. So that's been the challenge this week. I think sometimes that we've got good kids. Sometimes we're too good. We need to be a little mentally tougher, and we've got to push through and do things and understand why we do things right.
Do you feel like you picked up where you left off last season? Are you just idle? Are you in the middle of the tracks?
Well, I don't think we know that yet. We're not the same team we were last year, but the attitude was a whole lot stronger going into the spring, into the summer, and even into the fall camp. But that still doesn't translate into wins and losses. Our effort on the field and our effort on the practice field, first and foremost, is going to determine whether we're making strides. Now, obviously, as I tell people, I think we're better than we were last year, but the schedule is not going to be any kinder to us.
Well, you talk about being better. Are you bigger? You got more guys? You're just scheming better? You got more skilled guys, more money guys? Where do you see
that?
I think
we're still young. We got freshmen, a couple of 3 freshmen that started last year, and now sophomores. We got more sophomores starting. Now I think we're actually probably a little bit smaller. I think we have built a little bit more depth probably in the skill positions, but it's awfully young. So, as I said, they're good kids. They're fun to come to practice on most days with. It's a bit frustrating, I guess, because with youth, consistency is not a real strong point right now for us.
Well, you're 2-0 from last year. You're the only team undefeated going in. Everybody else kind of lost. So you won, going out on a winning note, and man, you got a tough one Friday night at 7 o'clock. Those guys will be ready to see you. Because,
They will. They certainly are coaching up that we pulled an upset. And we were lucky, and maybe we were, maybe we weren't. I thought the kids that night were very focused. The last 2 weeks of the season, they flipped the switch, and maybe Friday night we flipped that switch again. It's not to say that that I've been totally dejected with what we do. I just wish it was more consistent and our leadership was a little bit stronger. I think we're getting to those places, but obviously kids need a good taste in their mouth in order to continue on that direction, on that path.
You played Greg Wine a couple of times. What do you like about the coach, Greg Wine, the Siegel Stars? That if you were on his side of the fence, what do you like about his teams that you say, that team always comes in with that?
Well, Greg's a great organizer. He's got a sound scheme on both sides of the ball. I like their running backs. They got 3 running backs that are really good. They've got a couple of defensive linemen that are really good. Their kids are going to play with heart, and obviously any time that Rutherford County teams line up, it means something to the kids because the communities are close-knit. We've got a big game, but in turn I expect our kids to go over and give every ounce of effort they've got as well. I just hope that they take what we need to do in practice seriously in order to get to that point on Friday night, because that switch is not going to be ready to turn on Friday night. That switch has to slowly move from low to higher in a dimmer mode instead of just flipping one on.
Any news or information for the Riverdale Warrior fans? What you'd like to see out of them Friday night, other than a big crowd?
Always be Riverdale fans, and be there and support these kids. They've worked hard, and and I think this group will perform when the lights turn on. I thought defensively in the jamboree, our first group looked fairly decent. So I don't know if that was us or Smyrna. That's hard to tell. Friday night is a different challenge. I don't think, I know that at this point right now that Siegel's a little better offensively than Smyrna, especially the running game. So, we'll have our hands full, and it'll be a challenge, but I still think if we go over and play to the best of our ability, that it will be a game where turnovers and fewest mistakes are going to determine the outcome of the game.
As always, I appreciate your time. I'll be there on Friday night. We'll run 2 views. That's over at Siegel High School. Riverdale Warriors will be visiting the Siegel Stars. Y'all be out there Friday night, 7 o'clock.